Right now, I'm on top of this massive triple-decker raft, complete with everything you'd need for the river float of a lifetime, and a lot of things you probably don't.
Holy cow!
I'm gonna show you how this raft was built and take it on a 100-mile journey down the Missouri River, but this whole adventure wouldn't be nearly as fun all by myself, so I invited some friends. These are the boys with the bus, and this summer they turned an old school bus into an epic camper for a cross-country road trip, making countless memories and accumulating millions of followers along the way. They even made an appearance on Good Morning America. This kind of adventurous and ingenuitive spirit is exactly what my channel's all about. So when they sent me a DM asking if I wanted to do a build together, I was all in. And now we're here at the Missouri River, where this journey starts in, you guessed it, Montana. Dude, I live one state south of here and never knew the Missouri River went through Montana either. What's next? Is Kansas City not even in Kansas? This world is ridiculous. First things first, we need to make a super stable base for our raft because in order to build vertically and add on all the fun things we want to include, it needs to be super wide and super bottom heavy, just like TikTok star Frankie LaPena. In terms of size, we're thinking it should be 16 feet wide by 30 feet long, which I marked out with rope.
Oh my gosh, this thing is huge.
I mean, we're gonna be stuck together on this thing for almost a week. It's gotta have space. And in order to get enough buoyancy to hold the raft upright, we'll be using these 55-gallon drums, each of which supports 450 pounds. But this raft is gonna weigh a whole lot more than that, so we're gonna be needing 1 or 2 more of these. In this pile right here are 32 barrels with a combined buoyancy force of over 14,000 pounds. We could literally put 7 bison on this raft and still be chilling. The plan is to have 4 rows of these drums, almost like a giant pontoon boat, and then we'll build a wooden frame on top of it with a little cubby for each and every barrel. And as long as we're here in Montana, I need to introduce you Boston boys to barrel racing. On your mark, set, go!
David, I don't think this is what barrel racing is.
Sure it is. The cowboys have done this for generations. Speaking of which, did you guys hear about the cowboy who got a pet dachshund? He wanted to get along, little doggy.
Oh, who invited this guy?
like a wiener dog? But now we need a raft frame for all our barrels to fit into. For the frame of the base, we're using these 2x12 boards, which are being cut to size and screwed together with these massive screws. We can't have this thing coming apart on us.
And since we're doing this in a random parking lot, to power the power tools and hacksaws and stuff, we had to get a generator.
Hardly know her. And given the sheer size of this raft, we had to get creative with assembly. The most stable and rigid way to make the base would be to build the entire deck as one big piece. But that's not really feasible because it's gonna be massively heavy and almost impossible to flip over once we put the barrels on the underside. Which is why instead, we'll be making the base one segment at a time and then securing all the pieces together once they're afloat. Each of these segments holds 8 barrels and consists of 5 boards for the main structure and then 16 of these smaller pieces to make little cubbies for the barrels. And then each of these cubbies have 2 4x4s at the top that perform the triple function of stabilizing the frame, supporting the barrels, and adding weight to the base to make it more stable. To make this design happen, we actually built each individual cubby one at a time, and then once the main frame was built, we screwed them all in place.
Very secure.
Yep.
Very demure.
This is actually so nice having other people both helping build and film. It cuts my workload into fifths. It's like that Spider-Man meme where they're like, and now it's time to put the barrels in the cubbies. Ooh, that fits perfectly. And although the buoyancy force alone should keep the barrels in place, we made everything extra secure by drilling holes in the frame and tying 2 ropes over each of them because the last thing we'd want is barrels popping out during our float. And just like that, we have our first finished segment.
Oh yeah!
Guess now all we need is a building montage to a royalty-free trap beat while we do that 4 more times and we'll be set. And just like that, all 5 segments are done. So what we're doing now is flipping them over one at a time and carrying them over to the river so we can see if they even float.
This is gonna be such a good forearm workout.
Forearm workout? Chill, bro, I only have 2 of them. We drag the segments into the water, and believe it or not,
It floats!
And we put these 16-inch boards over each of the joints and screwed together the center to turn it into one rigid structure that would withstand the mighty Missouri. Then we walked it like a dog down the river to where we'd continue the rest of the build. It's like Titanic, but without the part where it sinks. Hopefully. Now it's time to build upwards, and for columns, we'll be using these 4x4s, each one of which is fitted with a brace and moved into position before it's wedged in between the cubbies and secured with 5 different screws so it's as stable as we could possibly make it.
We're gonna be putting an awful lot of trust in these things.
Which is why, in addition to having 2 rows of 4 on each side, we're adding a 3rd row of columns offset in the middle to support the 2 stories that'll be going on top of them.
That's a total of 12 stilts to hold up our bad ideas.
All the upward beams are now in place, so now it's time to work on the next level. And let me tell you guys, this first floor we did may have not been too difficult, but the next one we do, that's a different story. I don't know why any of these guys are still hanging out with me. Now it's time to get started with framing the 2nd floor, beginning with cross braces for our vertical columns. And for the frame of the 2nd floor, we're putting some more of these 4x4 boards perpendicular to the beams we just installed, and we're putting them right at 6'6", so Kevin here and I can walk around the lower level without bonking our noggins.
Vertical, boys.
Yup, right here at 6'6".
Oh, cut.
Putting these in place was definitely a team effort, but one by one, the next level was starting to take shape, and our new beams were easily able to support people with no problems.
Look at the size of the screws we're using. That's gonna make sure this thing doesn't fall apart on us.
And before, I was pretty worried about the columns because they had some wobble to them, but this additional framing did wonders for structural stability.
Now that we're starting to put beams across, it's already looking a lot stronger.
That's looking like a raft, y'all.
The new story was holding up the entire crew, but we need to fill in the giant gaps if it's actually going to be used as a floor. We cut some 2x4s to size and secured them using deck hangers across each of the open rectangles. And we were so committed to getting this done, we worked the graveyard shift.
I brought my big ol' studio light so we can work into the night.
These additional 2x4s are gonna add so much more additional support to the upper level. We'll be able to finally get a bunch of people walking on it because it distributes the weight.
And it wasn't long before she was ready for flooring.
We had to work into the night, but the first 2 stories of the raft are framed, and things are only gonna get a whole lot more exciting from here.
Yeah!
Woo!
Our sweet little raft is looking beautiful as ever, but there's one thing I really don't like about it, and that's the fact that it's made up entirely of rectangles. That's like the worst shape. So to introduce some triangles and add stability, we're adding support wires to each of the corners. These wires are being cinched down with turnbuckles, and it removed almost all of the wobble in our raft and boosted our confidence.
This thing's feeling way more stable now.
To be totally honest, I didn't even think we'd get this far, but it's time to frame our rooms on the 2nd floor, and here's what we're thinking for layout. Here on the front of the boat, we'll have the deck, which will just be a nice open and exposed area to chill and take in the view. And here to the side of the deck, we purposely put no framing because we'll be putting a big net in here that'll kind of be like a giant hammock. Then the 3 spaces here are gonna be framed 2 feet apart in height, so it's kind of like a series of rooms that ascend like stairs. It's ambitious, it's stupid, and no architect would ever dare sign off on this, but if we pull it off, this is gonna be the most fun raft design y'all have ever seen. One by one, the 4x4s were passed up and screwed into place, and the first 2 steps of our ascending design were put together a lot more easily than expected. But for the tallest area, we had to cut extensions because Home Depot doesn't even sell boards that long.
Since we need additional height for the final story, we're bolting these 4x4s to the previous beams. That way we can make a ascending staircase all the way up to the top.
Going to the dentist to be like,
Come here, show me your teeth.
and as the raft got taller, things got sketchier. We're just climbing our way up and down here every time, and we still don't have any floors.
Nothing like standing on a 15-foot high unsupported beam.
This is so sketchy. To get down, you have to climb down like 2 stories.
This thing's about to be the tallest building in all of Montana. And after adding our 2x4s to the roof so it could support people, we had a finished frame.
We just put in the final beam!
You guys are like the CEOs of yelling simple sentences in synchronization.
Yes.
Now that the framing's up, we need to add some flooring because this thing is currently a safety hazard at best. Our raft is a personal injury attorney's best friend and OSHA's worst nightmare.
And for flooring, we'll be using this OSB, which is just like plywood if it dropped out of high school.
And if you've watched any of my videos, it should be no surprise that I grabbed the jigsaw to cut it with.
I know I look like an idiot cutting plywood with a jigsaw, but to be fair, I also look like an idiot when I'm not cutting plywood with a jigsaw.
We carried down each piece of flooring and set it in place, test fitting for now because we'll be nailing them later on. And we cut out notches where the 4x4s would be going so it fit together perfectly and no one would fall in. This all took a really long time, so for your sake, it's a good thing time lapses exist. And once we were done with the flooring, we got to work on nailing it all down with a brad nailer. And by we, I mean Justin.
Somehow, I got talked into doing this all by myself. My name isn't even Brad.
But this guy's probably is, and he was just one of the locals who noticed our project and started checking on our progress. We were an absolute hit with this tiny town. The game warden also stopped by, who was surprisingly supportive of everything we were doing with the raft, and some local river experts volunteered to give us safety tips and help plan out the route of our float. A newspaper reporter even stopped by to write an article.
So the big question, is it actually gonna float?
Probably not. Let's be real here. This thing, I mean, look at that mess. And you know what this mess needs next? A ladder. I'm gonna build a ladder right here so we don't have to keep competing in the CrossFit games every time we want to go to the second floor. So I cut out a 4x4 that's the same height as the other vertical columns and secured it parallel to the other on the front before adding slices of 2x4s up the middle as steps. Hey Kevin, you wanna be the first person to go upstairs without doing acrobatics?
Oh, no way, you got it done?
And with our new ladder in place, it would be so much easier to bring up the next level of flooring.
Time for the second floor.
We carried up the pieces and did everything the same way we did with the bottom level, and things got less scary by the minute. And once the entire second story was covered, we moved onto the stairs and flooring was complete. All that's left is to brad nail everything down and take in the views from above. Well, the flooring and framing is done, and before you know it, this thing's gonna be setting off down the river. It won't be an easy journey, but I'm ready to step up and be courageous, just like my grandfather was. That man had the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the Denver Zoo. Now it's time to focus on the walls, starting with cutting some additional framing. We put one board in the center of each wall, which will make it strong and give the plywood more places to attach. Then we started cutting out the walls themselves, again using my good friend the jigsaw. Like I said, the plan is to make the upstairs enclosed, so now it's time to put in the walls. To keep things as light as possible, we're using this 1/4-inch plywood that's being cut and nailed into place, but it looks like these guys have things under control, so while they get the walls built, I'm gonna shave off this poor excuse of a beard I've been growing with the sponsor of this video, Henson Shaving. Let me tell you, I do not look good with facial hair. If I was a pirate, I'd be Captain No Beard, terror of the 7 seas. So shaving's really important for me. And I've used an electric razor ever since I started shaving, but that's before Henson sent me their AL13, AKA my new favorite razor. Henson is super cool because the company started out manufacturing aerospace machinery, but now they apply that same engineering precision to shaving, and it's an absolute game changer. The blade extends exactly 0.0013 inches past the plane, which is less than the width of a human hair. And it holds the blade at a perfect 30-degree angle, making it super easy to use, so irritation and razor burn just don't happen. By using this razor, you're also doing a solid for the planet because the Henson AL13 is 100% plastic free, including the packaging. It also reduces waste by being built to last a lifetime, making the AL13 the last razor you should ever need to buy. On that note, using Henson is a big financial W because once you own a Henson razor, shaving only costs a few dollars per year. If you want to up your shaving game, use my link below to get 100 free blades with the purchase of a Henson razor. Believe me, you won't regret it. Thanks to Henson for sponsoring this video, and thanks to these guys for getting hours worth of work done in the time it took me to do a 1-minute ad read. Let's get back to building our raft. With the walls in place, our room is fully enclosed, but everything looks unfinished and totally bland. We desperately need some sauce on the walls, so that's what we're doing now.
We're painting it early American, so let's get started.
Time to paint.
It looks like me after eating Taco Bell. We applied the stain using these giant rollers and did our best to slap an even coat on every single wall. The new finish really made the upper level come to life, and I'm glad we chose this color because it makes the natural wood pop. And while we were painting the raft, 2 of the busboys' dads flew out from Boston to see the build. What do you guys think about your sons building whatever the heck this is?
Should be bigger.
Should be bigger.
And taller.
We're disappointing your dads, guys. It's too small.
Yeah, just incredible that they got it all built. There was nothing here a week ago, and now this incredible fortress.
Really proud of what they've done, and had a vision, and here they are executing it. And great to partner with you, David, too.
But it still feels like something's missing, so we decided to put some additional accents around the edges.
And for the trim, we're using these 3-inch boards and painting them black.
And we pretty much just put these around every edge of the entire structure, securing them in place with the nail gun. This paint and trim combination made it look nautical. I feel like I should be singing a sea shanty with the boys.
There once were boys who had a bus, then they built a raft for us.
Woo! Feeling ready for sea, y'all. Now it's time to put in the deck. I actually don't know why we've waited so long to do this. It's been so tedious walking across this all the time. We make things so much more difficult than they need to be. And for the deck, we're using these 1x6 boards that are being sauced up in a redwood stain. I don't know how this stuff is gonna look, but you guys are gonna find out in a few seconds. It was terrible. We went with a different color. Are there really people out there who want their decks to look the way artificial watermelon flavoring tastes? And with a much better looking stain applied, we took the boards down to the raft to be put into place, spacing them a 1/4 inch apart and fastening each of them down in 4 different places.
And we're putting the boards in place using these deck screws.
Hopefully we don't screw this up. Get it? Are you proud of me, David?
We left all the boards with an overhang, which was then trimmed down once they were secure, and the end result was a beautiful deck that brought a ton of life to our otherwise boring floors. And the reason we kept these posts so long is because we're actually using them to make a nice little railing around the deck. We're cutting the posts, drilling holes through them, and putting in this rope that looks like it belongs on the wall of a seafood restaurant that serves a really mean clam chowder. Because even though we've been climbing around this thing like a jungle gym for the last 2 weeks, risking our lives, you already know we need a small railing to keep us safe on the deck. And it looks nice. Now it's time to cover the roof. And for this, we'll be using the very last thing you'd ever expect. Actually, it's probably exactly what you'd expect. We're gonna cover the roof in turf so we can touch grass every day, even though we're out on the water. So we measured it out on the trailer and cut squares to size with a multi-tool. We put all these pieces in place and secured them down with the brad nailer set to low power. This looks like some kind of really bizarre hole of a mini golf course. I absolutely love it. As you can see, the inside of our cabin is a dark abyss, and we need to fix that. So to make it feel bigger and more lively, we painted all the walls white, but it still needs portals to the outside world. So call me Bill Gates, because I'm about to install Windows. I've made that same joke in like 3 videos now. We traced out the hole for the windows by using a screw and string to create a makeshift compass.
There's so much light in here. It also feels like SpongeBob's pineapple.
As for the window itself, we're using a piece of plexiglass because you already know we'd find a way to break a piece of real glass. And this is just being secured down with screws through scrap pieces of plywood.
We finally got the plexiglass in, and now all we've got to do is put the trim on the outside.
So I used the same method as before to trace out the trim and then cut out both circles with a jigsaw. And once we had a big wooden hula hoop, I painted it black to match and put it in place. 4 screws later and she was all set. And it looked so good we wanted some more. We added 2 more submarine windows to the side and then 1 more big window to the back. I don't know why we're doing all circular windows. They seem so pointless. But something about these circular windows just makes it feel like it belongs on the water, and we love it. The inside feels so much more spacious and amazing now that we have the windows in place. That was definitely a solid move.
Windows? I hardly know her.
That's not how that joke works, Kevin. And as long as we're inside, let's add some furniture. Okay, so we're trying to keep the inside as simple as possible because it'll basically just be our little hangout space, but it still needs some decor. First, I'm putting 2 pieces of scrap lumber across here to make the desk. Add a stool, we're looking good in here. Stool is another word for poop. Knowledge. In the big area, we put down a rug and then 2 of these really comfy chairs so we could chill. Something tells me we won't have much time to chill on this trip. It's gonna be chaos. Our inside is looking cozy as ever, which is the goal since it'll be our only shelter. And we also built some furniture outdoors so we'd have some shelving and a table out on our lower deck. And as you probably imagined, we aren't doing anything to the deck flooring because it looks beautiful just the way it is. That's a lie. It looks horrible. Roll the paint montage. We painted the floor using the same rollers as before and applied a nice even coat across the deck. Even though at first, our paint color looked a little questionable. My favorite color, doo-doo brown. They don't call it the poop deck for nothing. We painted it this way because we wanted it to look like the weathered deck of an old-timey pirate ship. And I think we accomplished that vibe perfectly. Then it was time for our net hammock. And I'm putting this in place by screwing in some eyelets and attaching it with carabiners. This cargo net made the perfect resting spot. I feel like a big spider.
This thing is so nice.
And as beautiful as our raft is looking, the overall structure isn't even complete yet. You're probably looking at this thing and thinking, David, that's a massive raft. There's no way you could possibly make it any taller. It gets taller.
This is the crow's nest we put together. It's pretty much just 1 big 4x4 with a bucket slapped to the top, and it's held up by bolts and guide wire so we can detach it easily if needed.
And thanks to some rumors of our raft circulating at nearby schools, we had some extra volunteers. We have some help putting up the crow's nest because a squad of local high schoolers came out to check it out.
Hi, I'm Lippy.
These kids showed up at the perfect time because the crow's nest was an absolute monster. And it took the height of our raft from 17 feet to 25 feet.
This thing is looking massive.
Literally a whole team just showed up out of nowhere.
And the flags at the top made our raft look so much cooler. We have a pirate flag up here because we're a platoon of swashbuckling scoundrels. And we got an American flag because this is America, baby. I actually recently had a girl leave me because she said I was too un-American. I saw it coming from a kilometer away. Now that the raft is totally done, all that's left to do is make some final preparations and pack for the trip, and here's what's going into that.
So Justin and I did the electrical, and we've got 2 200 amp hour batteries. We've got our inverter, and then we've got our battery charger.
So how we charge our whole electrical system is using this generator. We wire it all the way through, connects it to the batteries.
Ben and Chen Electrical.
And we packed all of our supplies in these bins on these 3 shelves. We packed a ton of canned food and cooking equipment in these. And underneath the table, we have a water supply big enough to hydrate an army. Because the Missouri River is so polluted, you can't even drink the water when filtered.
So this is the Missouri River. It is green. And there are poop turds that float around.
And we might be idiots, but we're idiots that want to stay alive, so we packed some safety gear. We have enough life vests for everyone on board, throw rope in case anyone goes overboard, plenty of first aid supplies. And we have a satellite phone just in case we have to contact authorities if anything goes wrong. We're the safest people when it comes to this raft, because there is no one else on this raft to be safer than us.
As for actually steering this thing, you might notice there's no motor attached, and that's because we're doing it the exact same way Lewis and Clark did 200 years ago with push poles.
So we got a bunch of these 15-foot metal poles from Home Depot, and the river is actually shallow enough that we should be able to navigate the whole thing just with these.
We did a quick test run to see if these push poles would actually work, and then all that we needed before leaving is a pre-game motivational speech.
Well, fellas, we finished building. It's been a long time getting here, but if we drowned, just stand up. The river's not that deep. Time to set sail!
We untied the raft, pushed it out into the current of the Missouri River, and this journey was underway. And right off the bat, our push poles were working better than expected, which is a great thing because we'll be using them for a very long time. Laying out ahead of us is the massive journey of 100 miles, and we've made it our goal to knock out 20 of those miles per day. And just to keep things interesting, I've stashed 5 supply drops along our route, each of which will add something useful or fun onto the raft.
And the 5th and final supply drop is actually an upgrade for y'all's bus, which is parked at the finish. So if we can make it down this river in one piece, they'll have a big surprise waiting at the end.
But we didn't realize just how hard staying in one piece would be, because in the days to follow, we'd need to overcome countless obstacles and setbacks that pushed us and the raft to our absolute limits. And the first of these obstacles would be encountered soon, in the very first mile of the entire trip.
Bridge dead ahead! Get to your positions! We need to get to the right side. Everyone off this side, off this side!
I am praying we measure the height of this boat correctly, because that bridge is so low.
3, 2, 1!
We centered the raft so it would go right in between the 2 columns, and we must have done something right when measuring the bridge because our raft slid under there with just feet to spare.
I am so happy we made it under the bridge. I was actually really worried about that.
That bridge, I really thought I was gonna hit the top of this thing, but we're all right.
I just want to say we made that turn beautifully. Everything is working out. I am super happy with how this has been going.
We've gone 5 miles so far. The river's moving a little bit slower now, so we might be a little bit behind schedule, but maybe the river's gonna speed up later.
And with the water slowing down, we had a chance to relax and take in the views.
Now that this chaos is over, we can just chill out on top of this nice turf roof deck.
It is stunning from up here. You can see the fall foliage in the background. We're about to hit a cool canyon over there. I'm so pumped.
I actually feel like Huck Finn, just floating down the river. You might have heard of my twin sister, Huck Tua. That's so dumb. All right, so now that we've passed under the bridge and things have settled down a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and put up the crow's nest because this thing looks so much cooler with it up.
I feel like a patriotic pirate right now.
And the crow's nest was extra useful for navigation, which Siegel was put in charge of.
There's so many islands and channels that we have to take, and if we take the wrong one, we're gonna bottom out. This map, combined with scouting ahead with the drone, it's been smooth sailing so far.
And while most of the waters were very shallow, there were a few spots where it got deep enough to jump.
Cannonball!
And the water was actually pretty warm by Montana standards, but it varied in depth so much that half the jumps made us hit the bottom.
Dude, that higher one, you get a little bit of airtime before you decide whether or not it's too deep to swim.
3, 2, 1! Hey! Bring some ladies next time!
After a long day on the river, the sun went down for the night, and you better believe our string lights came out for the night. And we made our way across the glassy waters to our camping spot.
Last push of the day until we get to camp.
I got that dog in me.
Land ho! We're setting up camp right now, and we're actually staying at one of the camps that Lewis and Clark stayed at 200 years ago in 1805.
All right, my dudes, it's time for your long-awaited day 1 supply drop. As mentioned, we didn't really plan out the sleeping situation on the raft, so I have a box full of hammock tents for us all to sleep in. I love sleeping in hammocks so much. I knew we had to do this.
And the spacing of the raft columns made this absolutely perfect.
When I went to get these hammocks, they actually tried to sell me a coffin. That's the last thing I need.
It's low-key perfect for this raft because we have so many poles.
Dude, I'm so tired. I just need to put this together and off to Never Never Land, y'all. Wait, does that mean you died, or is that the one where you're dreaming? That was a very solid first day on the Missouri for me. Night night, sleep tight. Don't let the ghost of Lewis and Clark bite.
I
slept like a sleepy little guy, a snug little bug in my rug. And we have a big day ahead of us, so let's set sail.
And to get us energized for the float ahead, we had a dumpster fire of a breakfast.
For breakfast today, we have Cheerios in a cup, a classic sailor's treat.
I'm eating garbanzo beans right now with steak seasoning. Stuff is so good.
Oh, you gotta give me a try. That's what we're eating for dinner?
We're eating it for the rest of the trip because I got a lot of garbanzo beans.
But what we lack with meal planning, we make up for with route planning, because we need to take down the crow's nest for the big obstacle up ahead.
It's been a peaceful morning so far, but right now we're quickly approaching our biggest nemesis of day 2, and that's the Virgil ferry.
This is a barge that takes cars across the river. The only problem is it runs along a very low wire. A very low wire that our very tall raft is headed straight towards.
There's a ferry right there, and we need to go under it and hopefully not crash. Oh my God, that is so low.
And we must be the luckiest people in Montana because our raft squeaked under the wire by mere inches.
Wire's coming. I'm jumping over it. We made it.
I think we must have mismeasured because we were literally 1 inch, 2 inches. You can see the footage. I didn't even need to jump. I just kind of 1-2 stepped over the wire. And now the lady here sells pies, so we're gonna buy some pie and egg to thank her.
This is Bev. She's the ferry master, a retired teacher, and legend has it she sells pies to boaters.
I don't have any pies. There's eggs and banana bread and zucchini bread.
Unfortunately, she didn't have any pies, but she did have banana bread, baby.
And eggs! We got eggs!
Now let's continue down to Missouri
With our eggs!
And Bev wasn't the only new friend we made.
One of the things you see a lot on this river are cows.
Hello, cow. I would like to eat you very much.
They have been walking next to us for at least 4 miles now. There's an army of them. I'd say maybe 30 cows. They run like maybe a mile ahead, drink some water, wait for us, and then run another few miles.
They're just moving right along.
Maybe they're warning us of something, I don't know.
Maybe they're warning us of this massive sandbar, the one that we just steered directly into.
We just hit this massive sand bank, and now we're stuck.
We knew this was coming, we just didn't know when.
And with the raft at a total standstill, there was only one thing we could do. Push it out with all our combined might.
We're gonna get out of this sandbar!
And slowly but surely, we made progress because when you combine the power of 6 silly internet people, you get one silly pushing machine.
3, 2, 1. Oh yeah!
There we go.
Spin them up, yeah. Yes, sir! And push, yes, sir! Push. Yes, sir!
Yeah, we did it!
And while we were back out on the river continuing to float, we didn't go without sustaining some damage.
After we got stuck on a sandbank, this is the damage.
The barrel isn't even supporting us anymore. It's just lifting this floorboard in a way that everyone's gonna trip on.
We got a trampoline, guys. Ow, my knee. It's not a great trampoline, I'm not gonna lie. Also, this board isn't doing too well either. Our boat is falling apart.
But we were the ones who built this raft, so you better hope we know how to repair it. And since we figured this would happen, the deck was loaded up with extra lumber and tools that we used to patch up all the damage, and she was good to go.
You know, if the Titanic had people that could repair the boat, they might have lived.
We have a few boo-boos to fix, but I think we're good. Finger-licking good, as some might say. Some being Colonel Sanders.
The rest of our evening went very smoothly and just got more and more beautiful by the minute. So our hype to be alive returned to 100, and we couldn't be happier to be out here experiencing all the river has to offer. All right, y'all, it's once again time for our day 2 supply drop. And as you know, we've had some pretty awful food throughout this trip. Garbanzo beans, top ramen, a bunch of canned nonsense. So right here, I have a 12-volt fridge full of steak that was dropped off by Kevin's parents at this campground earlier today, and plenty of other tasty things so we can be eating good the next couple days.
Yeah! Let's go! This is such a culinary upgrade.
I kind of like the garbanzo beans.
Shut up, vegan boy.
Chef Kevin got to work on the steaks, which filled the raft with an amazing smell. And we all sat down at our homemade table for a big old family-style dinner.
Whoever cooked this did an incredible job. Look at this perfect sear.
Kevin did a great job glazing himself, and he's right. This is such a good steak.
This was the perfect time for this care package. We're all starving from eating nothing but garbanzo beans.
Steak dinner on the raft.
Yeah. So I gotta tell you guys, this guy over here is pescatarian. I don't know about you, but I think that's a big mistake.
He cracks me up.
And just as we were going to bed, we looked up into the sky and saw something absolutely breathtaking.
Right now, we are looking at some of the wildest northern lights. The whole sky is just dancing in like green and red. It's incredible.
This is the first time I've ever seen a northern light actually flare. Usually I just see a kind of a green mist, but this is something else.
Good morning. You know what they say, another day, another disaster. Let's get after it.
We woke up to some of the most beautiful scenery of our float so far.
It's gonna be such a stunning float today. We're going straight through the middle of White Cliffs.
And thanks to Bev, we had a much better breakfast to start the day.
You see this egg? We're literally about to have green eggs and ham. I can confirm egg is not green.
You think the chicken was green?
Chicken was definitely green.
Best breakfast ever. This is just what I needed to get through the next few days.
That was the real MVP here. Thank you, Ferry Master.
At this point, you might be wondering what we're doing for poo-poo pee-pee time. Gotta get rid of that bodily waste somehow. To poop, we have to walk up onto the shore and dig a hole.
It's a pilgrimage!
And to pee... Wow, you must really need to go.
Surprisingly, I actually haven't had to take a single dump since I got on this thing. It's probably not a good sign. Speaking of which, Seb, have you heard of that new movie called Constipation? That's because it hasn't come out yet.
All right, fellas, you're getting your supply drop early today, and that's because it's something we're gonna be doing all day, which is fishing.
Yeah!
Right here I have some rods, we have bait. I mean, this thing is just made to be fished on. We also got Montana fishing licenses. Gotta follow the rules. After all, I am one. I've only ever fished for trout back in Wyoming, and then sea bass that one time at the Frying Pan Tower, but I figure it's a pretty safe bet to just throw out some good old classic night crawlers.
I've been fishing twice, and I'm ready.
This guy's a pescatarian, so you better hope he can catch a fish.
I've only ever been fishing in Boston, but I hope these night crawlers do me well.
Night crawler? Hardly nowhere. At first, we weren't having much luck.
I just caught the rarest fish of all, a green moss goblin. What a catch.
My biggest catch so far has been our own rope.
And then we had to take a break from fishing altogether because we hit some more rocks in shallow waters and the raft sustained even more damage.
We hit a lot of rocks today.
This is not great looking.
In the past 20 minutes, I've realized this ship is going down. We're just losing a lot of barrels, and it's not good because we're sinking.
Well, that's just a quick update. I'll update you in probably 5 minutes when we have no more boat. See ya.
Oh yeah.
Oh!
But just like last time, we got to work on making repairs, and bada bing, bada boom, she was floating again.
Miraculously, we made it through those shallow waters into some deeper areas, so things are looking up.
But the same couldn't be said about fishing.
We've been out here fishing all day. Haven't had a whole lot of luck, but that's okay. Some days you're gonna crank that Soldier Boy. Other days that Soldier Boy is gonna crank you.
But other days, you just need to wait until nightfall to crank that Soldier Boy.
Dude, so I threw out a line after we docked for the night, and I have a fish. I thought I was snagged for a minute, but this is a monster. Oh my gosh.
I'm expecting a behemoth.
Look at that.
Oh, that's a monster.
I think it's a sucker fish or carp or something. Oh,
Holy cow! What the heck?
I mean, it's definitely not good to eat, especially in this water, but dude, that's a toad right there.
You just got the biggest fish I've ever seen, man.
It's a 27-incher. That is one of the biggest fish I've caught in my life. All right, let's let her go. After a long day of catching no fish, that was the perfect ending to the night.
Welcome to day 4. We are up at the butt crack of dawn because there's some wind that's supposed to come in the next couple days, and we're trying to get as much of this trip done as possible so we don't hit it.
So we pushed off from shore and got this hunk of wood headed downstream.
Also, today is definitely the coldest we've had so far. We're in kind of a shady area, and then also we've just spent a lot of time in the water really early on, so that's not helping.
Just putting my socks on, trying to get some feeling back into my toes.
It is absolutely cold outside, but we've got to get to work early because we've got a long day ahead of us.
But then a breeze moved in, which not only didn't help us, but actively pushed against us, making the ship move upstream, and we made negative progress.
We are moving backwards down the river because we have a 3-mile wind.
We have the smallest headwind right now, and we are going backwards.
I guess having that much surface area up top just wasn't the greatest move after all.
But let's put our problems aside for a minute and start thinking about our day 4 supply drop. You guys might remember when we were putting the turf on, we were all thinking, this looks like some kind of really bizarre hole of a mini golf course. Well, I thought I'd take that a step further and actually turn it into reality. So I made a mini golf course out of the top with a bunch of stuff we had laying around the raft. We'll each play around and the loser has to walk the plank. Sound good?
Yeah!
Let's make it happen. First was Kevin, who has the most experience. And despite being a good golfer on the big course, it must not translate to raft roof mini golf because he did just okay with 5 strokes.
Oh, we'll call 5 a par on this course.
Siegel was next, and it was during this game that I learned he goes by his last name and wasn't named after the bird, which was a huge disappointment.
That's 6.
And then it was me, who's definitely the worst golfer on board, but sometimes I surprise myself when it's mini golf.
That was a lucky shot.
Justin came out of nowhere and schooled us all, because he managed to navigate this mess in just
4 strokes, baby.
And now it's Seb. gonna get it in 2.
Yeah! Am I the loser? We all know how pirate ships work. Losers gotta walk the plank.
And then Seb and I jumped because it just looked fun.
Later, me mateys.
Plank boys! With the plank being walked like the good pirates we are, Siegel and I got in a quick workout on the roof deck, and just as the sun was setting, our raft made its way to our camp for the night.
Well, we made it to camp before sunset for the very first time of this entire trip. We only have 10 miles left before the finish. It's hard to believe this is gonna be our very last night out here on the water. Somehow these last 4 days have both felt extremely short and very long at the same time. But as beautiful as it is out here and as much fun as I've had, I'm excited to get back.
As the darkness engulfed us, it was time for the Last Supper, and Kevin cooked up us chicken stir fry, which is exactly what we needed after a long 4 days afloat.
Long day, but it'll be good tomorrow. I'm excited to be back home.
You know, Raft has been much better than I thought. I thought we would get beached immediately and I would just hate every moment of it, but it's been really fun.
I don't even know what life is like off of this raft anymore. I'm just excited to get back to land tomorrow. It is an extra good morning because it is day 5, the day we return to civilization. Let's get out on the water and finish strong.
Later, guys.
You're coming with us, dang it.
The home stretch couldn't have been more smooth. It was deep the whole way, and we had 0 wind.
The bridge is up ahead. That's the finish line.
So we took off the crow's nest and prepped for landing. We passed under the bridge, and the float was finally over.
Plank to land. Raft journey is over, baby.
Our 100 miles of chaos have come to a close.
100 miles, baby, we made it!
Yeah! 100 miles complete. This is gonna be a journey we remember for the rest of our lives. And now it's time to check out your 5th and final supply drop, which is a parting gift I have for you guys that's waiting on top of the bus.
All right, let's go check it out.
Ooh, this is sick.
This is really cool.
I've been looking at your roof deck and thinking that this would be the perfect place to have a movie night, so I put in a screen, got you guys a projector, so now you have your own little movie theater on top of the bus. Well, you guys are awesome. I'm so glad we could go on this adventure together, and there's no way this raft would have happened without you.
There's no way it would have happened without you. It's been so great getting to know you, and we got you something to remember us by.
This is a Boys with the Bus hat, and it will make you an honorary boy with the bus.
Oh snap, I've been adopted as a bus boy.
Yeah!